Okay, so you are back from your breakout rooms. Janice and Felicia, did you have an opportunity to finish?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Let's wait on Edrika. I think Edrika is just rejoining the meeting. We now only have 4 participants. It's just been an interesting night. So I'm going to share the review assignment with you, and would be interested to hear what you came up with in your discussions. So let me share the screen, and let's hear from the members of group 1 first.
Okay, I'll be presenting.
And that's Felicia?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you, Felicia.
Okay, we did case study number 1.
Yes?
Who was communicating? Bruce the chemist was communicating about the company and this new compound.
1 second, Felicia. Your sound is muffled.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes, better.
Okay. Okay, so we established who was communicating. Bruce, the chemist, was communicating about the company to the company about a new compound. It was a compound that is effective and environmental new insecticide, right?
And so just to give those who didn't work on case 1 an understanding, Bruce was a chemist and apparently a talented chemist who compiled a bulky report consisting of tables and their chemical and physical properties and their molecular structure, basically scientific information. And buried at the end of the report was speculation that one of the compounds might be an effective insecticide. The same oil company then undertook funding 7 years later to find a safe insecticide. And during that second research initiative, they found Bruce's results and used it, but Bruce had since left the company. So we're talking about what went wrong in this scenario. All right, let's hear from Felicia. Sorry to interrupt you, Felicia.
Okay, yeah, we discovered that Bruce was the chemist. He was communicating to the company about a new compound of insecticides. We also found that we identified the errors was that the report was not clear and it was too bulky and it consisted of too many tables. It was crowded. Explain the losses.
It was crowded, and what mistake did Bruce make? If we think of the composition of the report, what mistake did he make?
Tables.
Too much scientific information. You have to think about your audience, right? Is a scientist going to read this report? Are they going? We were just talking about that as we were talking about putting business reports together. You use this audience-centered approach. So who is going to get this information? And if the information is too technical, is your audience going to understand? And so obviously Bruce did not follow that suggestion. Felicia?
Okay, right. We explained he left the company and he found out that the compounds were safe, and that's what people was looking for.
Yes.
So I guess that explains the cost and the losses. Also, identify possible solutions. The owner should, the report should have been clearer and it should be structured properly, which will result in them in seeing that the insecticides were safe.
Right, and so you make very specific recommendations at the end of this report. Well, he should have used a direct approach, which we talked about, which would put the recommendations at the beginning of the report and not speculation. And they certainly shouldn't be casual. If we look at the language used to describe the Bruce's findings, it's referred to as casual speculation. So we need to use a more direct approach where you have the recommendations and findings at the beginning, and then you have a well-organized, simple and easy to understand discussion that would make, that would support your findings, right? And would make your report easier to understand. Now you said related to cost. Can you repeat what you said? I missed what you said when you said it cost.
I said he left the company and he later found out that the compounds were safe.
Okay. Okay, so the company lost a valuable and talented employee in Bruce, but they also lost money in another way. Lost Bruce's talent and expertise, but how do you think they lost money?
Because
and time.
I think they got it sell to a different company.
No, what happens is they lost 7 years. This product could have been developed and used and could have profited the company during those 7 years. But not only do they have to pay to conduct more research after 7 years, they then had to face whatever losses were incurred because the product hadn't been developed sooner. Right, so they lost Bruce, a talented employee, and Bruce is partly to blame because he was also a poor communicator. They lost money because the insecticide was never developed or was not developed in the time that would have been more profitable for the company as well, right?
Right.
Okay, good. Anything else you want to share?
No, thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's group one. Let's hear from group two, who worked on case number 4, which is 1 garbled memo, 26 baffled phone calls.
Okay, so with this case, the speaker is Joanne, who's the supervisor, and she's communicating to her staff via a memo about a new overtime policy that should clarify overtime compensation. The goal of this memo was to notify the staff of the overtime policy.
Yes.
But her downfall was it wasn't clear and concise. And like the subject says, 1 garbled memo.
Yes.
It had poor formatting of info.
Yes.
It could have been presented either in a letter form, email, or a
Yes.
small meeting.
Yes.
So she could have elaborated more about what it was she was trying to deliver.
Provided clarity and still provided it in writing.
Yeah.
As a follow-up to the meeting, yes.
Her audience, they were baffled, didn't understand what was being communicated, which resulted in her having to take a week to clarify what she was trying to get across. And like I say, letter or email or a small meeting would have been best.
To communicate. So what is this memo? What does she mean? Thank you. I think that was Tanishka?
Natasha.
Natasha. So let's listen to this. And this is all one sentence. When workloads increase to a level requiring hours in excess of an employee's regular duty assignment, and when such work is estimated to require a full shift of 8 hours or more on 2 or more consecutive days, even though unscheduled days intervene, an employee's tour of duty shall be altered so as to include the hours when such work must be done, unless an adverse impact would result from such employee's absence from his previously scheduled assignment. What do you think she meant? What was the point?
I don't know. I try to figure if this is a series of stuff or.
She's basically saying, this is a memo about overtime. So she's trying to save the company money. The company is paying too much in overtime. And so when workloads increase to level requiring hours in excess of an employee's regular duty assignment, i.e., when you have so much work to do that it requires you work overtime, and when such work is estimated to require a full shift of 8 hours or more on 2 consecutive days, and when that overtime extends to a full shift on 2 days, even though unscheduled days intervene. So you may have days off, the company will basically give you time back. It will not pay in overtime. Your tour of duty shall be altered. So the company is going to give you time back unless giving you that time off would basically have an adverse impact on the schedule. That's essentially what this means. So we can't pay overtime as much. We're going to have to compensate you with time back or time off instead of overtime. But the problem, as you have identified, Natasha, is in format and in how this message is communicated. All right. And so what was lost? Time, because people spend so much time calling and not doing their jobs. And also it took a week to clarify the new policy to kind of correct this communication gone back. Okay. All right, so we are down to 4, and I'm going to end the meeting. We've had some technical difficulties and people have left. I don't know if they've also had technical difficulties, but I think we got through the most important parts of the lesson tonight, which was a review of business report writing, the format, and then this kind of review. I would like for you to review the other cases in your spare time. And next class, we're gonna move on to the other components. I think I wanna just look at the syllabus for 1 second. Let me stop this share. To see what's up next, and then I'm gonna end the meeting. I think we're moving on to preparing for a job interview and representing yourself well. So resumes, cover letters. I wanna make sure.
Yeah, that's what's up next.
Okay, so that's next on the syllabus,
Yes, ma'am.
and we'll be working from, it's coming up right now.
No, that's basic organization and meeting procedures. That's week
Okay.
8, right?
1 second, my document is downloading. All right, so we are. No, it's not.
And actually could be November.
3rd.
Oh, drafting an agenda and minute.
Yes, okay, all right. So we are, today is October 27th, and next week will be week 8. So we're focusing on basic organization and meeting procedures. So drafting an agenda and minutes, and that will also be your next 5-point assignment. Now, I know it says due on November 3rd if you're looking at your syllabus, but we've established a kind of system where I give the assignment on that day, and instead of requiring you to turn it in at the end of the lesson, which I think puts too much pressure on you, I will give you until Sunday of that week to turn in the assignment, okay? And then we move on to preparing for a job interview, preparing resumes, cover letters the following week, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So have a good night, ladies. My apologies again for the technical difficulties. Next week, we will have a smooth class.
Good night.
All right,
night.
good night.
Good night.